welcome back to another episode of The Vault. And as you know, normally The Vault, it's just Ben and I chatting and banging on about something from the olden days. And there have been some cracker episodes. You have to go to our YouTube channel to check them out and have a good old laugh. But this time we have got something extra special for you. Tonight, we have a VIP guest, and we are thrilled to bring international best-selling crime writer all the way from the UK and probably out of bed too, Rachel Lynch.
How you going? Hello, Rachel.
I was going to say morning, guys, but actually it's your evening, isn't it? So yeah, I'm fresh out of bed. You're ready for bed. Hello, it's fantastic to see you again. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's so good to see you again. And this is your first ever Vault, so welcome. In fact, I think it's the first time we've had a guest on a Vault. So look, there you go. Lots of firsts.
Yeah. Oh, one thing first, we have to set the timer. Hey, Siri. Here we go. Set the timer for 10 minutes.
10 minutes starting now.
So obedient. I just love it so much.
Now, Rachel, last time we spoke with you was early last year. And since then, we've all become besties, let's be honest. And what's... Of course. And what started as the Rachel Lynch One Book Book Club in Australia has gone nuts. We've now got 3 Rachel Lynch books in circulation. So it's kind of a one author book club, I guess you could say that. And, you know, our listeners, we're sending them around, we're mailing them. I've actually got 2 of the books here, Bold Lies and The Rich, which I'm reading. The Rich, you can see my bookmark there. I'm reading that at the moment. Rick, Lee, Trudy, lots of people have read it. And one of our listeners has downloaded the entire catalogue. So, you know, you're probably big in Australia already, but, you know, we're helping you to become this juggernaut author. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I feel absolutely thrilled. I'll be a juggernaut any day. It's fantastic. And my books are in, when they first launched, you know, in the English language, it was all English language territories. And Australia has always been a big market of mine. So I'm absolutely over the moon.
Cool. You know, we just love it.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. I love your support.
Fantastic.
Well, it is absolutely fantastic, and it's so good to see you. And this is a Vault. Chris has got the timer going, so let's crack on. Let's crack on with our questions. And today we're going to start with talking to Rachel about The Rich. Okay. You've probably seen across all our social medias, we've got book reviews coming in all the time. There we go. Ben's just spilled water all over that one. But I have to say, hand on heart, it's one of the best books I have ever read. And when I was reading it, I was texting Rach going, oh my God, I can't believe what's going on. What is going on? And I was freaking out. And then when I finished it, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but it is just quite possibly one of the best books I've read. I've just loved it and have raved on about it to everyone. In fact, our library, oh my God, now I'm waffling. Our local library has got in this book, and I sent you a screenshot.
Brilliant.
Sorry, Ben. Yeah,
you did. No, it's fantastic. I'm absolutely just, it's brilliant, Kristy. Thank you so much. Because I think that it's, I mean, not to give too much away, but you know, there are some very dislikable characters in there. I think you have to get what's going on, and I'm just so blown away that you really got on the back of it, and you went along for the ride.
I've read it twice. Because I went and borrowed it. Okay, first question. All right, Rachel, we're talking about The Rich here. Your book delves into some dark and intense themes. What kind of research did you undertake to ensure accuracy while exploring the psychological aspects of your characters and their actions? Great question.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time I've actually written a psychological thriller, and coming off the back of the Kelly Porter series, which is police procedural, it's very different flavor, very different structure. So police procedural, is very linear. There's a crime and then a detective solves it and you go along for that ride. Psychological thriller, you're inside people's heads, and that it fascinates me anyway. It's always fascinated me what drives people to do things. But the whole psychologist element, after I'd sort of got the seed of the idea, I do know a few clinical psychologists, and I chatted with them about the authenticity, you know, of what my main character was doing, because as you know from the Kelly Porter series, I like things to be real, and you know, I like, even though obviously, you know, you can get away with artistic license, I do like the police investigations and what the theme of what I'm talking about. I do research it a lot, so I did do a lot of research, and obviously it's quite you know, challenging to research that sort of thing. There's a real, I don't know what Australia's like, but at the moment in Britain, there's a massive mental health crisis. It's on endemic levels, really. And that process of trauma and how it informs people's behavior is something that I'm really interested in. And a lot of observation goes into it, you know, people watching. I love people watching, always people watching. And the way people behave when they're pushed. And of course, that's the whole point of a psychological thriller. If something happens to push them, you know, to their limits. So really it's driven by, you know, my passion for the subject. And then things like, I mean, you know, the self-help market for books has really exploded. So you could pick up things on, you know, inner child work, trauma resolution therapy. You can get those downloaded from Amazon quite easily. So my research was extensive, but I really enjoyed it. This whole idea of the difference between PTSD and complex PTSD, that really struck a chord with me. And then I just sort of changed that into, right, let's turn this on its head and see how a criminal could actually exploit somebody's vulnerabilities and get away with something in the process. So I really,
yeah. Sorry to interrupt. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of the book when you were saying that. So Ben's not there yet, and I'm not going to make any spoilers. So
I've only just got into it.
Yeah, I'll try not to then, because I'm really rubbish like that.
Yeah.
I've been to library talks where I've blurted something out and people in the audience are not quite there yet. You know, they've only read 1 or 3 or 4, and I'm talking about 12, and I'm like, oh God, did I just say that?
Yeah.
I apologize in advance if I do.
Oh, it's okay. And look, it just makes me more excited to continue reading. And as we know, readers have been captivated by these intricate plot twists in your thriller. And how do you maintain, you know, there's that whole research element which you talk about, which is very, you know, time consuming and puts so much detail in the book, but it's the plot twists. How do you maintain that element of surprise and keep the narrative coherent and engaging as well?
Yeah, it's I explained it to, I was having a chat with my editor last week, and I said to her, it's a bit like taking 80,000 pieces of paper. My books are generally 80 to 100,000 words long. 80,000 pieces of paper, throwing them up in the air, and then looking at the pile and trying to put them all back in an order, and trying to surprise readers, I think, is the hardest challenge of all. And this is the first one where it's not revealed what happened until the penultimate chapter. Whereas the Kellys tend to be more whodunits. You tend to find out, you know, or you know who did it, but you're not quite sure why. You're not sure if Kelly's going to find them, and resolve the story. But this one is a real whodunit till the very end. You know, that was exciting. And I think, you know, life and stories are messy, aren't they? And I think that's my challenge, is to pull off those surprise reveals at the right time. And so a lot of organization goes into it. It's a bit dull, really, because obviously I'm living and breathing the story. I know what's going to happen, but I've got to time them. So there is a bit of organization involved, and a little bit of tugging and pulling, you know, in the editorial process. But that really is the sweet spot. If you can deliver a surprise, you know, a couple of them throughout, then, you know, it's a bit like hitting the sweet spot on the tennis racket. I think, you know, I'm still learning, you know, how to do that. And psychological thrillers, it's really important for them, you know, to deliver that shock twist. Readers really look out for those and try and, you know, be one step ahead of you. So yeah, that is the most challenging part that you flagged up there, and it takes a lot of work.
Absolutely. But
skill.
like a good hit with a tennis racket, you know when you've got the sweet spot and it feels good. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm loving this. All these puns. This is ace. All right. So
Ace.
shifting gears. Oh, boom, boom.
Boom.
Shifting gears from The Rich, best book ever. Read it, get it as soon as you can and read it, everyone. We're now shifting to an upcoming book that you've got coming out later, I think May, is Shared Remains. That's correct, isn't it? That's a correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shared Remains. So Ben, take it away with the next question.
Yeah. So what can readers expect from Shared Remains? It's the latest thrilling addition to the Detective Inspector Kelly Porter series. So no doubt there's plenty of stories and interest in there. Can you give us a little bit of a taste of what we can expect?
So it's number 12. Kelly is in her early 40s now, and you know, she has a little girl. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but you know, her personal life has moved on a bit, and I think that's one of the most interesting things for me as an author writing a series is keeping her backstory, you know, and keep, because readers ask me all the time, yeah, I know what the crime is, but can you tell me if she's decorated a bathroom yet? You know. So her personal life, you know, is just as important. I think getting that balance.
Hang on, it's Taylor.
Is procedural.
That's 10 minutes.
Turn her off. Turn her off.
That was
It's
Taylor.
okay.
Well, it wasn't even Chris Martin. We had the wrong timer going. Anyway,
Yeah.
keep going. Yeah.
I believe that was 10 minutes.
Yeah, right. It goes fast. The Vault.
Really quickly. She's got quite cynical. And you know, with her rank and everything and her personal life over the last couple of books, and this one is set in a funeral home and a care home, so it deals with some pretty delicate end-of-life issues, and more romping through the countryside, obviously. So yeah,
fantastic.
All right, so my next question for you, Rachel, is the setting of the UK Lakes districts adds a unique and atmospheric backdrop to your novels, just like the front cover of this next novel. Oh my God, it's just fantastic. You released it recently on social media and it's just an absolute cracker. And did you replicate it in a social media post recently? Or was that somebody else had done that?
No, but I have done that, and I think it's a cracking thing to do. Because you know, that really encapsulates the Lake District. It's, you know, it's not the Himalayas, you know, it's not the Alps, it's not huge, but it's really dramatic because it's so small. You know, and you have these hidden places and it's got so much charm and so much beauty, but that's the beauty about setting a crime series there, is that it exposes the potential underbelly of evil, you know, that is latently sort of sitting there in, you know, under a lake or in a mountain, you know, on top of a mountain or whatever. And that's what drew me to it. I mean, I grew up there, so obviously I know it really well, and I think that's important. But you know, reviews have said that it's like an extra character in the books, and it's so important, and that atmosphere that it creates is really important to me. But things like, you know, mobile phone coverage is really bad there, so that's great for a crime novel, because obviously victims become a lot more vulnerable when they can't use their phones. And that's my weird, twisted, you know, brain working there. Huge transient population in the hotel industry and the tourist industry. So you've got a lot of movement there. So making it really difficult for the police to keep track. Really bad infrastructure, you know, tiny roads, so lots of delays, lots of you know, animals getting in the way when the police are perhaps trying to get to, you know, respond to incidents. The weather is so moody and unpredictable, so it's just perfect. It's perfect for, you know, a crime novel. And Ben, I know on your podcast with Tamsin, you were talking about Jane Harper's the Lost Man.
Yes.
And I read it. It blew me away. And again, I thought that setting was so perfect for that story. You know, the bleakness, the dry, the you know, you could taste the sand, couldn't you? You could taste the heat, and it was so important. The desiccation, you know, of the body, and I think, you know, settings are just really super important.
Absolutely. Well, the Lakes District is obviously the gift that keeps on giving for you, and it keeps on giving for us and the rest of your readers. Can't wait for your next installment in the Kelly Porter series. And Rachel, thank you once again so much for joining us on The Vault.
Thank you. Sorry, we were everywhere. Thank you.